Here we go. Hey everyone. So another live tonight with Ben. Here we go. Here he is. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. You can hear me well?
Yeah, that's it.
Ah, well, it's good to have you. No glitches tonight. Oh, I've lost you. You've left. Let me try again. It's always something. Technology. So I invited him again. Anyway, it's Ben from Walker Landscape and Design. Hopefully he can come straight back on. He'll be able to explain. Here he is. You're back.
Back, I'm back.
How are you anyway? You all right?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good. Thank you for coming on
Oh,
tonight.
my pleasure. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, it's been good to chat to you today. So obviously we've had a little chat today about what we was going to talk about. And I think we best start with a little introduction to you, how you got into the industry,
Yeah.
and you know where all those little niggly bits about you and your company, basically.
Okay, great. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Ben. I run Walker Landscape and Design. We're based in Cheshire, Chester to be exact. Always a sort of hobby for gardening, the outdoors, and landscaping. Um, Sort of young teenager, used to earn a bit of extra cash doing my family's gardens, and then as life moved on, it just kept getting bigger, and you got paid a bit more for doing a bit more, and it just sort of went and went really. Did A levels at school, didn't go to uni straight away, decided to go travelling instead.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite decide what I wanted to do. Had a lot of built up energy that I had to get out, so did that.
Explore
Uh,
the world.
yeah, that's it. Saw the around the world trip, which was great. And then studied for a foundation degree in garden landscape design when I came back. After a bit of time away thinking about what I wanted to do, an ex-teacher put me onto the fact that you could get a formal qualification. It wasn't just a hobby.
Yeah.
Went and did that, and that was the start of things. That was a really interesting course because it was a mixture of both the design side of things and the practical side of
Yeah.
things. You know, everything from how to run a business to, you know, design and take a topographical survey,
Yeah.
laying, basically. So, really good course.
And when did you do that course?
Oh, it was back when I was in my early 20s. Good sort of 16 years ago now.
Okay, yeah. Trying to make the maths now.
I was in my early
Yeah,
20s when I was doing all.
yeah,
And then while at college doing this foundation degree, I worked in a nursery.
yeah,
So at the time, really immersed in everything. Plant knowledge was through the roof, and yeah, it was all great. I then left that and worked in construction for a few years up in Leeds,
yeah,
doing property renovations. I then came back to Chester and worked for a big maintenance company, and then worked for a big landscaping company after that. And then weekend work and doing jobs after work and everything just built up so much.
yeah,
Started to become a conversation between me and my then girlfriend, Grace, who's
yeah,
now my co-director. You know, what would it look like if you sort of took the plunge
yeah,
and went for it? I think it's quite a common story throughout the industry. I know a lot of other guys are similar.
yeah. Stories behind how they got to their own business, I guess.
Yeah, you end up running bigger and bigger jobs for someone else, and you think,
I could do
um,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And how many years now you set up your company?
it's 10 years this year,
10
so
years.
yeah, big milestone for the business, which is which is good. And we're hoping to do some sort of mark the occasion with a big party at the showroom and things like that. Gather staff, customers, friends and family. As your plays their little part, don't they? Across the course of a business. So yeah, big one.
10 years. So you've been going as long as I have, really.
Oh, you 10 years as well?
10 years, yeah. 10 years, but I've never worked for another landscaper.
Okay.
Or gardener. I always, it kind of started a little bit of gardening, and we are where we are. But I kind of wish I worked for another company and learned what not to do. I had to learn the hard way sometimes, but here we go.
Yeah, one of those things again.
Exactly.
Yeah, 10 years, supposedly a huge achievement. Someone told me all the stats recently about the amount of businesses that make it, that don't make it to 1 year, don't make it to 5. So yeah, fair play. Make it to 10.
Yeah, it's good. 10 years for the both of us. So now you've got your company, you've done all your training, you've travelled, and you've worked for other companies. You set your company, and was the aim? Did you have like a purpose? Did you have an aim? As in, I want to achieve this with my company because I've seen another company do it this way, or were you kind of winging it a little bit? What was the goals?
I would say a mixture of it all.
Yeah.
I've always had big ambitions, you know. Any job I did, I wanted it to be the best. Anything I've done, I've always wanted it to, you know, stand out. So I've always had that sort of drive, whatever it is done. But you know, it's a popular area in Chester, Cheshire. There's a couple of fantastic other landscaping companies in the area that you see around. And back in the day, you thought, you know, I'd love to get there someday. But to be honest, from when I started, just me and a labourer 10 years ago, we've been very lucky. It's sort of been a runaway train of sorts, the business, and it's time to think and plot and strategize. It's kind of just evolved. Which sometimes I think can be a positive, you know. I've talked to people in the past that are planning to start a new business, and it's sort of paralysis through an they plan and they forecast and they this and they that, which is all very sensible.
Yes.
Sometimes you just got to start something.
Yes. Yeah.
Spend 2 years trying to plan how to start a landscaping company, and your logo, your liveries, your uniform, your this. But if you've got people, you know, ringing you up day in day out for work, get out there.
I mean, the equation for a successful business to start is having the work and having the skills. So all the rest of, like you were saying, logos and branding, that kind of evolves, doesn't it? And even changes. Because I remember we started with a logo from Vistaprint, you know? You know what I mean? And the little magnety thing that we put on the van, and I was chuffed, man. I was like, wow, I'm like running my own little van. You know, I'm the big deal.
Business cards recently, I found a couple, and they were Vistaprint. And my mum and dad's landline on. Sort of stuff, like my personal email. And you're like, it's nice to reminisce about how you started, you know. I used to shove all my tools in the back of a VW Polo, you know. Fold my
I had a VW Caddy.
Oh, nice, yeah.
It was a piece of shit, to be honest, but here we go. So, your business now, how many guys have you got? What's the structure, your working day, let's say? People in the office, obviously design, so that's the service that you offer. What's the scale?
So last week, actually, we had an afternoon. We took everyone off site, got the office staff out, and we did a little training afternoon. And I spoke about, you know, my vision for the future of the business. And I hadn't realised, I knew on paper people we now employed, but to see them all sat in one place was quite fun. And yeah, we're up to 18 now, including myself.
Wow.
I think we've got 4 or 5 as office based.
Yeah.
Rest on site. We typically run, depending on the size, 3 to 4 teams, 3 to 4 projects. And yeah, we've got Grace and I in the office. I do the majority of the design work. We've got Connor, operations, who's been promoted to commercial director.
Yeah.
We've got Paula in accounts. And we've just taken on Mark, who's a product specialist. So he's an executive.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, like, to have 18 guys, how do you manage that? That's all right. How do you manage having 18 guys working and girls?
Yeah, in all honesty, it's just kind of evolved. We've got to a really nice point now where the office support feels like it's balanced off against all the work we're doing on site.
Yeah.
It was a long period where it wasn't, and I was still trying to do bits on site and dive into the office, and the sheer amount of work that Grace and I are trying to do. But since we've managed to be able to afford to take people on in the office, we're not more smoothly. Start to progress, and you start to get a bit of momentum behind you, and it's a really nice feeling because there are growing pains at stages.
Yes.
Grow quite quickly, which obviously is big, but it does come with those challenges of trying to manage it all, really.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point that you made with, I don't know how you worded it, but you said having the right amount of people in the office to the right amount of people on site. So that struggle, although maybe as a landscaper, when you start scaling up, you always think about the projects, you always think about the work. Well, I need to be on site, I need to be doing this, but actually, if you want to scale up, you have to spend the time quoting those jobs and making sure they're coming in and making sure job satisfaction is met on all levels, just not on the job at hand. So I think that's kind of like a big kind of learning curve. If you really want to scale up, you do want to kind of you want to admit to yourself that you need to spend that time in the office or seek help at least.
Yeah, that's it. And I think there's several ways to do it. There's no wrong. I've got great mates in the industry that want to stay on the tools until they retire because they love it. That's their passion.
Yeah.
That's great. So you just got to sort of pick what it is you wanted to do. I'm quite keen to grow the business quite quickly.
Yeah.
And try and have it eventually, an entity that almost runs itself, isn't completely reliant on me. Quite a big pressure. Never had that back from playing rugby and landscaping.
Yeah.
The pressure of my earnings are on my body performing.
Yeah.
Things like that. So and then you sort of get that support, and there's a few occasions where it's like, I'll make the decision now. I'm going to do 3 days a week in the office and 2 on site and all that sort of thing. And you ease it in. Times we've had occasions where we've taken someone on, and it's like, we'll do a bit of this and a bit of that. They go into the office, they never come out again because as soon as they're in, they realise. And it's always hard to try and forecast and justify people's salaries and does that balance. But a lot of the time, once you do it, you're like, oh, how did I cope without?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think for me to put it on a personal kind of perspective, I've always, a bit like yourself, I always had Jess in the office. So that's my wife, and she runs all the admin and booking and stuff like that. So we scaled it up. I think last year we were 10 of us, and we had Jess in the office. I was still part of the lads. I mean, I'm just a labourer to my wife's eyes. At that point we had 4 teams, but we do tree surgery as well.
Yeah.
So, but I was so on the tools all the time that I wasn't keeping an eye on the other projects sometimes as much as I should have, or on the business, and it can quickly wobble out of kind of control. So on a personal level, I feel like I need to enjoy the office more. But a bit like you were saying earlier, I'm kind of one of those guys that my passion is into doing things, and I'm dyslexic, and like you were saying, I think you hit it. You just need to understand what you love doing for, you know, and after, you know, guide your business on that.
Yeah.
So it's always hard because we all want that safety, a bit like you say. I can't do the hard graft that I do for the next, you know, 30 years. Like, I'll be a broken man. So you do want to scale up deep inside, even if you're like a tool lover and you're, you know, driven by that. I think deep inside, you know, you have to scale up to just manage a business, still enjoy the running of the business, and enjoy the job satisfaction through your lads and through training them. And I think I'm slowly kind of getting there with that, where we recently employed a young lad who's been doing level 3 landscape and design horticulture, whatever. And he's a great young lad. And to see him on a digger today, like on a 3-ton digger, you know, and he's getting better. And it's just lovely to see that. So suddenly you kind of start trusting those guys more. You train them right, and you still got that job satisfaction. But it is a tricky one to get to, isn't it? That mental blockage.
No, and you know, a lot of people struggle with letting go, and rightly so. You know, it's your company, it's your name.
Yeah.
We all know in this game, reputation is everything, and you know, you could say your last job. So to leave it to someone else to do,
yes,
tricky, and that's what's so important, to get the right people. Now that's a whole another subject of recruitment and trying to find. But when you do, you know, business is built on people, and what I found is when you get those right people, it's, you know, nothing short of life changing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've had moments when, you know, Connor and Tom are my 2 main guys, director now and senior foreman, who've been with me for almost since the start. You know, labour, one started as an apprentice, and now they're the 2 most senior people in the business. And there's been moments when I was starting to let go, and you're like, oh shit, what about, oh, we did it last week. You're like, oh.
Yeah, lovely.
And honestly, as like a business owner, you know, there is no greater feeling than stuff starting to happen.
Yeah.
It's very, very alien to start with. You think, oh, there's all these things that only I will ever be able to do.
Yeah.
Realize that if you can get the right people, which, as I say, is a different challenge, but when you do, it's, you know, it's massive. It's a huge.
I can say that that's just happened to me recently.
Oh, brilliant.
So the other team, Theo's team, he joined with us about 6 weeks ago, but he owned his own business, and he's a friend as well. And to have someone that understands business as well, and I've put him on a really nice project, and it's just how he's running it like, you know, it's just like, for me, it's just alien. And I'm like, oh wow, like I went to see him today to bring in some machinery, and you know, you ask him the questions and everything's kind of thought about, and it's not like a surprise, you know, everything's thought about, and it just puts you in confidence that we can run 2 really big projects at the same time. But like you say, I think it's all down to the people you employ and how you treat them, and you know, how you can sustain keeping them, you know, all that important stuff. And I think that's the tricky part, because the people that are that good are fine between, and often they want to do their own things as well. So it's not really that hard balance to master. But I think, like you were saying, I've got my foreman, Tom, who started years ago. He used to work at Sainsbury's or Domino's or wherever, and he came there as a labourer. Now he's my client, and he's, you know, he does all the tree surgery. He runs the maintenance teams. He's just, you know, but that's 10 years down the line, how someone's grown, and you know, it's amazing to see as well.
Oh, honestly, you know, there's not. It's so rewarding to see people progress, and you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, trying to recruit good people into your business is massive, but you know, train and retain is my main thing.
Yeah.
You know, find these people. You know, you've got to keep hold of them. You know, we've all worked for that miserable company or that horrible boss. You know,
Yes.
in the trade, in production, you know, that type of boss that thinks the only way to keep everyone be the biggest, you know, dress everyone down. But you know, life's short, and you spend most of it in work. Might as well
enjoy it whilst you're there.
Yeah, and to, you know, lads up and, you know, see them develop. We're a young business, you know, landscaping's for a lot of people a young man's game. To see people develop, get married, you know, buy the first house, you know, within the company is really, really rewarding. So
nice. No, that's a beautiful part of running your business. Seeing people evolve, especially the young keen ones, and you get a mixture of for us, the worst actually, the labourers. You get some really good ones, and you get some right dodgy ones as well, and they don't last, you know, 2 weeks, they're gone, and they look,
The best one we ever had was we were doing a job, we don't do commercial jobs now, but we were doing a big one on Liverpool Cathedral.
Yeah.
Repaving all the way around the cathedral.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were struggling for boots on the ground, basically. It's 2 lads applied, everything seemed all right, and we had that many guys going inside with a minibus for this project to get all these lads up to Liverpool for this job.
Yeah.
Picked them up on the way, got up there, got them all kitted out, got them inducted, and they were basically just cleaning down some flags and prepping stuff, and pretty got to break time. They asked where the nearest stop was to get a few sandwiches and whatever, sent them on their way. Just never came back.
No. They did a runner.
all the way up the motorway, all the way to Liverpool. Done, I don't know, maybe 3-4 hours work.
Oh my God.
Sunset never turned.
I mean, that's scary, isn't it? Because do you follow a proper Yorkshire builder?
Yes, yeah.
So did you see, he put this, he did this story, said for every 7 people retiring in the construction, in our industry, only 1 is coming in. So that's the stats. Obviously, it's an overall stat in the construction industry. But, you know, that's scary. It's scary. So, you know, I think I can see it's hard to find people now. Maybe, you know, when I started, I think people were a bit keener. Yeah. But now, I'm really struggling to find young lads that are keen to work and all that stuff. But hopefully, it'll turn a corner, and apprenticeships and all that stuff will be a bit easier and more accessible. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we've had success with the apprenticeship scheme. Tom, who's now our senior foreman, he was my first ever apprentice. Finished the course early, was revising on his lunch break. I had to get bored of me, you know, using him as like the shining example. And then since then, I think maybe I had 8 or 9, and none of them have even lasted the duration. So we unfortunately we've given up on it as an idea, but because you know we're 18 staff now, you know, we're very busy all the time. You do need everyone pulling their own weight.
Yes.
Perhaps when we get a bit bigger again, have time to invest in it. But currently, everyone pulling their weight. But you know, with the labourers as well, we've got some crackers at the moment. But you know, you also have to. Me and Connor joke that you almost have to interview and give three a job to then still have one.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, so that's on the recruitment side. I wanna veer off on another side of your business. Since I followed you, I've always been intrigued, and I always kind of like looked at your Instagram and thinking, wow. So I'm gonna just give my opinion on what I can see from social media. I can see your company very much as high end, not obviously by just the work. The work is fantastic, but what I like is all the products. So the fire pits, the pizza ovens, the things that you offer that customers require, during the job and stuff like that. But how you present it on your social media, it looks mega. It looks mega. So I'm always looking on now like, yeah, that looks amazing. And I think we had the business coach on, Nick Roddle, and he kind of like talked about a little bit about you and stuff like that. So that's how I got onto you, and then it kind of made me think, because at that time I was trying to think, I'm doing really big projects, and they always need furniture, they always need a barbecue, a green egg, or this, that, and the other, all those little bits, and you just kind of nailed it with that. So I kind of want to, I want to let you go with it, and why you got there and how you got there, and all that little bits and bobs.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks. We do a lot of work with the Instagram. Like it's seen from third parties as we sort of try. We actually employ someone to do it all for us now, Carly, who's amazing. I would recommend to anyone. So if anyone wants a recommendation on someone to take a lot of stuff off your plate,
yeah,
be happy to give that. Yeah, so the products started really for us around 3 years ago, maybe a little longer. And like you've just mentioned, you come to an end of a job, customer starts asking about furniture, or maybe a bit sooner in the job, an outdoor kitchen or a hot tub or this. So I was always trying to give the best service I could. So I'd recommend people, and in all honesty, you'd have mixed success because you'd be researching them like the customer should have been really, but I was always quite, a bit of a control freak, to be honest, with the job. I wanted the best stuff in the right way.
Yeah.
Have mixed results. We then started, we used Grillo when they had their old range, the four, on 3 jobs in one summer, back to back. And we were mega impressed with the service. And it sort of the penny dropped with us a bit, because we were like, oh, so we can sort all this, we can supply product, we can make money on these things. Yeah. We all know you're working on a big project through the winter, you've had weather delays, your lads have been off sick, you've had Christmas break, you're struggling with your margins by the end of it. And it was a great sort of surplus to revenue, really.
Yeah.
That went really well. We then had an idea to start a display area. It was the first idea at the office. And we contacted them, and they said, well, we're about to launch a partnership network. Would you be interested in that? We said, yeah, obviously. But part of that was to have a kitchen on display. Yeah. We had a big yard with a portal cabin office and a stove yard. And it served its purpose, great, but it was no display area so that was then the impetus to start developing our site. Started off quite basic, lovely big raised terrace with some planters, some nice to house this kitchen. Before we even got it on display, we'd sold 2, I think.
Wow.
We got inquiries started coming in, and you just noticed a change of tone with clients when they said, "Oh, you've got a showroom,"
Yeah, yeah.
or "Come and see it." We'd always been very lucky that all our ex-clients had let us use their garden time to time, but we sort of got the impression, you know, that's the same one, three maybe
Yeah.
times. It's during all the lockdowns and all that sort of business. Tone was a bit more tense, and you think, oh, if it's fourth or fifth time, you know, you are pushing your luck, even with your. But it just changed the way that we thought about things, and clients were now coming to us, come to see a kitchen, and they say, "Oh, but who did you pave in? Because we need our garden doing." And we did. Oh, can you do that as well? Yeah, yeah. So one thing led into another. That kitchen range, and we saw the success, led into another, led into rents and pergolas, another range of kitchen, fire magic, led into soulless fire pits, and bit by bit, we started working around the showroom, developing more and more.
Yeah.
More you did it, the more the sort of perspective, I guess, changed, and companies were now getting up because we were promoting it so heavily online and through the website, social media. You then become known for products in a way, and people start you. And yeah, it's been a huge success, as I say. You know, the added revenues, you know, massive to the business now. It, you know, makes up almost a third of our revenue. So that we've now got a sales executive in Mark who leads up all the product sales.
Yeah, yeah. So you got someone managing that side as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which is huge. What we've always done is thought, you know, what's taking up the majority of my time, what am I struggling with?
Yes.
Quoting and estimating, well, Connor does that now. Product sales and quoting them, Mark does that now.
Yeah.
And it would be all the design work. So that's why we're looking at an in-house designer now.
Wow.
Next bit of progression, but yeah, as I say, the products have been huge and massively successful.
That's amazing. I mean, like you say, the extra income on top of creating a garden is important, because sometimes, especially on big jobs, you might lose on various bits.
Yeah.
You know, 2 extra grab lorries went out and you were short on type 1. I mean, we've all done that. So having that extra income as well just softens those blows and buffers those margins some more as well.
And it's so much easier to forecast because, you know, touch wood, there's not a huge amount that can go wrong. You know, someone's buying a singular product, it's kitchen, it's generally fitted in a day, a couple of days. There's not a great deal that can go wrong, so you know that your profit margins are protected.
Yeah. But we actually, on the projects I'm on at the moment, we're installing our first Grillo kitchen.
Oh, nice.
And not really looking forward to it. Recently, I received a parcel from them with their new kind of range, the aspect sheet or whatever they call them. But really looking forward to seeing that in the garden we're building at the moment. And you know, when I saw your page, what always made me kind of think was, you know, I always guide my customer towards the products I like.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing the legwork, if you like, you know, and it's tried and tested. So we used to install quite a few green eggs.
Yes.
And recently we moved to the Primo.
Okay,
It's the black one, it's oval. And I prefer it. I like the black. It's a bit less like boom, green egg. And I like the shape of them as well. But you know, you do all this research and you just pass it over to a customer. He might let you order it and you can put a little margin on there. But having, you know, a showroom with all the things that you like to put in the gardens that you create, and being able to show to the customer, and like you say, that the customer love it. I mean, it's a bit like when you go on a client meeting and you come with full-size slabs and you show them a range of porcelain and they like seeing things,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
like touching. I'm the same, you know, I don't want, I hate going to a tool station. You can't see things, you know, you have to look at the magazine and hope it's the right length screw, you know what I mean? So I think is that ability to have your customer come over, feel and understand what they put, because it's not cheap. I mean, Grillo Kitchen, I think the one the customer's getting is like 12 grand, something like that. So it's a bit like buying a kitchen for your house.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you know, nine time out of ten, people that go and buy a kitchen for their kitchen inside will go to some showroom. So no, I think you nailed that. You nailed that, and I'm gonna do one.
good. You should.
Yeah, I think it'll take a bit a bit of a while, but
Yeah,
no, I think that's the dream of a lot of people. You know, Mark was saying in one of his stories like he'd like a showroom as well. I think we all, you know, being able to display what you're capable of, not just, you know, the kitchens, but lovely paving, lovely sets, little variation in colours, with those products in
yeah.
situ is just amazing.
The other advantage was that, you know, I found myself driving around Western Cheshire on a Friday trying to see people, boot full of samples, boot full of
Yeah,
oh, this product from this brochure, this product from that one, you know, trying to sell a dream and give it to people, and, you know, got all the samples that are, you know,
yeah,
nice. So it was that as well. So now people come to the showroom, you know, I can get 8 people coming to me on a Friday or Saturday.
yeah,
I can be doing emails in between, and they come and they go, oh, right. And they see full laid patios of
yeah,
this, that, of porcelain, of natural stone. Oh, that's fitted seating. You know, they're clay papers. That's feature fencing. That's a pergola. That's a bespoke kitchen. That's a modular kitchen.
yeah,
And they see all these, get these inquiries, will come, just wanting to look at a kitchen. They then ask about garden design work. You know, garden design work. They come for a design station at the showroom, and then a demo of products they're considering. So
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and within our industry and what we do, it's close to a no-brainer.
No, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I mean, like I was saying with my wife, we've talked a lot about showroom, show garden, and showcasing, and you're kind of the living proof that it works, and it's worth doing. And
Yeah,
it's probably, you know, like you started little,
yeah.
with one kitchen and a bit of paving. You can scale up. You can, you know,
Yeah.
do it in increments. What about furniture?
Furniture is another thing we supply. We've got a couple of suppliers, both quite high end. We've got a wall and we've got a cooler.
Yeah,
Uh, Again, what we try and do with the products is we try and source commercial grade products, bring them into the residential market. A lot of our customers, they've had, you know, a set off the internet and it's lasted 2 summers. They've tried to jet wash it, all the paint's come off, the cushions are knackered, yada yada yada. So now outdoor living has become more of a staple in this country. People are actually wanting to go, do you know what? I don't just want a set or a fire pit for this summer. You know, I want it for the next 10 years. So
yeah,
people are spending more, wanting to invest more in their outdoor spaces, as you all know. But furniture is always one. At the end of every job, go anywhere good for furniture.
yeah, yeah. I was telling you on the phone, I mean, that we were joking about it at the end of the job, and you're struggling to get your final payment, and you see this lovely set of furniture turn up, and you're like, oh yeah, that's where my final payment went. Bastards. But you know, it is so true. I think you nailed that with your business, because we've just finished a massive project, and you know, no furniture that you had previously would have worked,
Yeah, yeah.
because he was just dated, and he spent, you know, 250 grand on his garden, he's going to want something to reflect that. And it's not just a table sitting 7 chairs. He wants a table with 12, 14, you know. So, because it's a huge project. So at that point, really, if you can even put it in your pricing as your, you know, pricing the job and having, you know, we supply furniture, you know, what kind of colours, what's going to work with your project is this, and this is roughly the price range you're looking at, and that could be factored in the quote. So suddenly, the customers, the final payment, they get their furniture, or they don't. So pay, and you'll get your furniture. But you know, everything can be factored in. So at the end of the job, when they're already stretched financially, then they have to stretch some more to afford that beautiful set of furniture. It's already factored in. It's great.
Yeah. So we actually do exactly what you've just suggested. Our quotations are split into 2 sections. So
Yeah.
you keeping elements, you know, clearance, dig off, paving, everything's itemized. I always tell my customers it's like a shop. I'm going to break everything down so you can see exactly where your value is, and you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
And for products. So, you know, burglar, kitchen, fire pit, water feature, whatever it is. And we're finding a lot of our jobs now, they're spending the same amount on their hard landscaping as they are on their products.
Yeah.
So,
because it finishes it. It finishes it.
£70,000 on a landscaping project, lovely house, porcelain and new turf and everything. They spent £70,000 on product. They had a Renton pergola, they had an outdoor kitchen, they had a fire pit, they had the furniture and all that stuff. So you've essentially doubled someone's spend with you.
Yeah.
Normally,
that's
all these for all the different stuff, and they just spent £70,000 with you.
Yeah.
You that person spent with you. And as you say, it's so aligned with what you're already doing. They want your recommendation.
Yeah.
On the product. So
because you love what you do and you're a landscape designer, you're only going to recommend something that works with what you've achieved. So if they've already bought into your skills and your knowledge, it's just that trust is there, and you can really finish a project nicely. I've bought in. I had a message from Brookstone. Can't wait to see Ben on Dragon's Den one day as a dragon.
We enjoy this live, in your pajamas, having a brew.
I like his work. It's amazing what he does.
He's a legend of the game. That bloke. He really is.
Have you met him?
It's not worth knowing.
But yeah, I mean, that's amazing. You really answered all my questions that I was kind of wondering. And the one last question: do you approach those company? So let's say the furniture company, the fire pit. Do you approach them and you say, basically, it's like you're a bit of a shop. So you say, I want your range, and how does it work that side?
So, really good question. It's a mixture of the two, really. The first kitchen range was a bit of both. We said, oh, we're going to do a bit of a display. They said, oh, we're about to launch a dealership. So that was kind of...
Yeah.
After that, when the Grillo arrangement ended, people got wind of it, and we created a name for ourselves then. So other kitchen companies are going, oh, here, you don't do Grillo, or would you consider our kitchen? So there's a bit of that. But then we started, so for example, we did all the, what you'd say, the typical garden products where pergolas, fire pits. But then some of our high-end clients started to ask about saunas and ice baths and all this sort of stuff. Getting dragged to the wellness market. So me and Mark have been on the road the last couple of months meeting different companies, like Brass Monkey for the ice baths. So you're then approaching others. So all I'd say is, you know, from my experiences, know, if you're not sure, just go for it. Ring someone up, you know, send a message for an intro or a bit of advice. You know, we apply a lot of landscapers with our products and things like that. So yeah, it's a real mixture, to be honest. Like with the growth of your business, it just evolves. Some opportunities come to you, and then you may be on a job and you're asked to source something peculiar.
Yeah.
You then, oh, do you know what? We should add this to our.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. We on the last big job we used a copper company that does like outside taps.
So all that.
Are copper, but they're coated, so they're not going to oxidize.
Yeah.
And a proper copper by design. I don't remember the name, but amazing, really expensive, amazing taps. They just finish, you know, instead of putting the old copper, you know, a tube or whatnot. It just finished it really nicely, a bit more bespokey, and that's something you could have. You know what I mean? It's that those little features that finish a project that are bought in. They're not manufactured by us. You can have a full range of those that you love to use, that other companies that you believe in, and that all that good ethos around it as well. So yeah, I think you kind of do it without knowing, I guess, and
you should then monetize it.
Yeah.
You know, you do all that legwork for so many people just because you care so much. You've got the knowledge,
Yeah.
And then we started to make the most of it, and it's become a huge source of revenue for the business.
Yeah.
It's almost a third of what we do now.
Mate, that's mad. That's amazing. Well, honestly, hat down for you, Ben. Like, it's just thinking a bit outside the box and just being kind of like, you're not just a landscaper, you're not just a designer. It's just, how can you, and actually, by the end, your customer got the best customer service because they had to trust one person. You know, they believe in you. They can see all the jobs you've done, and they buy into you, and suddenly they're into good hands. You know what I mean? They don't have to veer off or look online or flick, like you say, brochures and is that going to work for our project? So I think you really nailed that kind of service, as in high end as well. So by doing this high end stuff, you're kind of like shielding yourself as well from hard times, because people with money, even in hard times, I still have money. So, you know, at the end of the day.
I was always sort of conscious that I always wanted to aim for the higher end jobs, in Prestige and things like that. But for that security, you know, a lot of the higher end customers, you know, aren't that affected by sort of the economic times that the rest of us are in, and they are spending big chunks of money on their base. Unfortunately, it's the lower end of the budget market for jobs. We'll have to really consider what they're spending, and
No, totally.
At that end.
Yeah. I mean, what we found in the last, I would say, year and a half to 2 years, we are not getting those full jobs. And maybe it's because we're not portraying that, but we're very lucky that all our jobs are big and it's just keeping us really, really busy. And they're just nicer to do. Although sometimes financially, I probably take more of a hit because, you know, you can balls things up sometimes on the quoting and this, that, and the other. Yeah. So, but I enjoy them. I enjoy it. And I love working for designers more and more. It just brings a different flair to the projects, and we work with nice designers that allow us to put our touch as well on the project. So that's always nice. But yeah, those big jobs are definitely keeping us out of trouble. So, you know, to recap, I mean, from you is obviously you've got this company, you run 3 to 4 jobs at a time, and as well, a big part of your business is all the rest of the sales that you make on kitchens, furniture, and stuff like that. and the design. So you've got a lot going on in one firm, haven't you? So a
Yeah.
lot of management to be done. And what's your? It's always hard. I like to ask this question. It's quite a hard one to answer. Is what's your 5-year plan for the next 5 years? If you've got a rough kind of guide.
Good question, and it's what I presented to the rest of the company last week. It's all about, for me, excellence, expansion, and environment. You know, we're trying to be the best of the best in whatever it is, whether it's our social media, our porcelain paving,
Yeah.
the got on site, the garden designs that we do. The other part is expansion. We want to add at least one more on-site team this year. We outlaid an organisational chart with the company.
Wow.
You know, directors, contract managers, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams, you know, product specialist teams, you name it, in-house designers, all the rest of it. But then the other one for me is the environment, our internal environment within the company. So the environment we create for people to progress, you know, train, retain, and develop people, so that the business, you know.
Do you do like in-house training?
Yeah, so everyone gets a 6-month and 12-month review, to progress. So we set out training markers for them. It's like a labourers might be cutting porcelain and cutting natural stone, like mixes and whatever. But then once they've nailed all that, the next thing is, right, well, we're going to train you up to be semi-skilled.
Yeah.
Well, it involves being able to run a line of blocks in when someone else has set your corners up, or line of paving in once someone has set your line up for you. And obviously above that, it's skilled, and then team leader.
So you've really created that kind of hierarchy.
Yeah.
But not only you've created it, but you've created steps as well in that hierarchy for those young lads to want to progress. And they kind of, it's not like, oh, am I doing good? Am I progressing? They have that clear path kind of laid out in some ways.
And that's really motivating. I remember when I worked for companies when it seemed, you know, well, how am I ever going to get one step up, let alone two?
Yeah.
When you're ambitious, your head's down. But if you can keep the really good lads motivated, you know, you're going to give them no reason to want to go elsewhere.
No,
if you
exactly.
the next 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years in front of them, keep training them, keep giving them pay rises, because, you know, they're only going to benefit you and the business at the same time. Yeah. Again, you know, I use the same phrase again, it's a no-brainer. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It just keeps growing, and you keep succeeding, and they're happy, you're happy.
I've learned a lot from you tonight.
Thanks, mate.
No, honestly, it's been really, really good. It's been really good. The way you think about your lads, the way you think about the business, and you're obviously very passionate about what you do, and it must be in your brain all the time. What's nice to see, you know, it's refreshing to see other people that love the industry, because it's one of the hardest, I would say. It can be, when everything goes well, it's like living on a bubble. I love it. But when the weather's not working in your favour, when materials are not turning up, when customers are being balanced, when this and that and the other, it can be just the toughest time. But it's nice to see, you know, I think you'll be an inspiration for a lot of young landscapers who are coming in, who can see the potential of landscaping and what people can aim to, because sometimes it's easy to just get kind of bogged down in the work and the grind and not looking in the future. I think looking in the future and seeing what's possible and setting yourself goals, it's really inspiring. So no, thank you for tonight. I think a lot of people would have appreciated all your information.
Oh, hopefully so. You know, always happy to help. You know, I am no expert, but I love chatting to other landscapers, you know, at any point in their career. So if anyone's ever got any questions for me, or send me a message, or anything like that. You know, I've been helped out past by people with advice on things that I've done before. You know, all my mates in the NSC, Matty you mentioned, and you know all the rest. You know, everyone's always happy to help within the industry. So
No, exactly. So I've had Adam on the phone just before the podcast, um, and we kind of said I'm going to make a little an announcement for him that he is all good, because lots of people have been asking, "Where's Adam? Is Adam all right?" And
yeah,
because he's gone a bit quiet on social media, I saw he logged in, so I hope he's still watching. But he's just had like lots going on with his business, as we all know. We all go through it, the ups and downs of running your own business sometimes. So he's getting things sorted, and he had personal things as well. So all of that mixed into a big mess that he's trying to fix, and he is fixing it. So for all of you guys that send me messages asking about Adam, and you know, making sure he's okay, I mean, the support on this social media
yeah,
is amazing. You know, like, so many people obviously know what Adam's going through and had chats, and then I've had chats. You know, it's just a beautiful kind of real. I don't know. It's really hearty. It's really nice that we can all chat, and we all want everyone to do really well, and we all learn from each other. And you know, I get a lot of messages on my practical side, and when I'm building stuff. And I'm sure I'm going to bombard you with messages when I need to build a showroom, and because that's going to be my aim for the next 5 years. Build a showroom for the beautiful projects that we build, and the designers that we work with will be able to use that showroom.
this is it. It's what I've got mine, and we have a nice big meeting room now. We have it's a big garden, but you see the Clyde, full doors, yada yada.
How big is the showroom? As in the show garden, the
450 square meters, including the parking bays. But the parking bays are done in different driveway products, so everything. What's what, and we have a big meeting room now, which is great because we wanted to show off the garden buildings. Yeah. It's there for the designers to use as well. Yeah,
no. I mean, all of that is just, it's so cool. No, I really enjoyed it. And have you got, last question, obviously, I know you are building a show garden at the moment.
A trade stand.
Trade stand, that's it. And I just wanted to hit on that before the hour ends.
Yeah.
How is it all going? Is it where you want it to be?
It is slightly ahead. Don't want to jinx it. It's going well. I mean, this sort of semi-tropical weather we're having.
Yeah, it's really muggy, isn't it?
But because of a few reasons, we had to put the pergola up first. So I volunteered to pay the pergola today. So I managed to keep dry, which was
quite nice. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, that's it. Part flower show. So if anyone watching Northwest based wants to come, check it out. It's we're essentially promoting the business and building a mini version of one of our luxury gardens. We've got our kitchens, our pergolas, fire pits, TVs, ice bath. If anyone wants to come and volunteer to get
the ice bath.
And then loads of plants, obviously, because that's the main thing.
That always makes it, doesn't it?
The one.
No, that's good. Well, thank you very much again for coming on.
My pleasure.
And like I say, if I get any messages, I'll send them your way. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I really enjoy watching your Instagram. And yeah, thank you for coming on. Not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, we got Ellie Cartpool. They make natural swimming pools.
Nice.
I've had a couple chats with her on Instagram, and I thought it was a man I was speaking to. I didn't realise it was a lady that owned the business, so I made a fool out of myself. But nevertheless, she said she would come with one of her lads on our podcast for the next Wednesday. So really looking forward to that, and that will be about natural pools. Nice. So that would be a good one as well. Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. You can find it on YouTube. And yeah, have a great rest of your week.
Cheers, mate. Keep up good.
Thank you very much. I'll catch you later.
I'll see you, mate.
Bye, bye, bye.